Hello, folks. Rick Berube here with Facebook Live on this wonderful Thursday. Okay, what is today? The 30th or is it 29th? 29th. 29th of Rocktober. We are very fortunate today from the lovely state of Arizona, from the North Scottsdale office, real estate extraordinaire, Jasper. Woo! And the crowd goes crazy. Now, just so you know, folks, Jay runs a team. All right, and last year they closed 20 million. This year they're about 27 closed and pending with a goal of 30, which would be a 50% increase. Okay, so Jay, just because you're in Arizona, everybody knows you there, but Nevada, in California, not so much. So tell us a little about yourself, how long you've been doing this, all that good stuff, please.
I was born on a cold, cloudy day in 1963 in
Okay, not
downtown
that far back.
Minneapolis. Okay, too. I started further. Okay, sorry. So I have done nothing but real estate my whole life. I grew up in a real estate family. My dad had a real estate land development building company. He was an architect. And so even though my mom said, please get a real job, please, 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 I didn't listen. And I have done real estate. So 37 years. And I can't say I'm 5 years old. So that just makes me old as dirt like Rick.
Hey, I am not old. I'm older, but I'm not old.
Yeah. Hey, I love your sound effects guy. Where'd you get that?
Yeah.
How'd they budget that?
That's exactly. Well, we have a little marketing, studio over here. We have a studio for videos and live. Like that's not really what's behind me right now.
Oh, the green
Yeah.
screen is not you. What is behind you? Actually, I see green.
Yeah. You see green. No, no. Yeah. That's good. That means money. You see green.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Do I have
money.
a hue of green? Because that means money for you.
That's right. That's right.
Now, tell everybody where you are right now.
So actually, I'm in South Minneapolis because I still dabble in real estate up here because that's where I was from. Don't you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
You
Babe,
bet. Yeah.
Babe the Blue Ox and Paul Bunyan, and visiting my mother, doing her chore list. So I forgot that I was doing Facebook Live. So I'm in a restaurant and with this lovely, you can see this lovely upholstery. This is a la 90s. You know, we're a little behind here in Minnesota. This is current, um, and I'm doing Facebook Live here. So that's the beauty of technology.
It is the beauty. It is the beauty of technology. So, huh?
Yeah.
Like a little xylophone. All right. So tell them, give us an idea of how you do your business. Maybe describe your team a little bit too. That would be great.
So, um, I'll try to be quick. But when I was in Minneapolis, it's a far different market, obviously, than the Phoenix, the Valley, which is, massive. And when I moved down to Phoenix or Scottsdale permanently, it was about 10 years ago. I thought, I've been doing this forever. This will be a piece of cake. You learn a market, you do it, you do the same things over and over again. Well, that was a rude awakening for me because, first of all, if you showed a house one weekend, didn't find one, you'd go out the next weekend. Here, if you didn't find a house on their 4-day trip where you're doing the car sick tour, they might come back in 6 months.
Right.
So I had to adjust to seasonal, which was part of it. And then the other thing is, you know, we're the land of agents. It's like close to 90,000 licensees in the state of Arizona. And in our area, North Scottsdale, there are teams and groups that spend upwards of $25,000 to $40,000 a month on marketing. So you go, how am I going to compete with that as a solo artist? I'd never been a huge team fan. And so a couple of us got together and said, hey, let's collaborate loosely. Try to pool our resources so that we can compete David and Goliath style against these big groups. Well, that doesn't always work. It works idealistically. It doesn't always work on paper. So a little over 2 years ago, we said, okay, I guess we're going to be a team. And two things drove me on team. One was I don't believe in the I in team, which a lot of teams are. I said we all got to be equal or else it doesn't work. So Tony Dungy wrote a book called Mentor Leadership, and it is the outline for our team concept. It's where everyone's the same. We all got strengths. We all got weaknesses. And now we have grown. I ran out of fingers and toes because that's 20. we're at 21 members on our team in a very short order, and part of it is because we really believe in collaboration and not, I own the leads, I own the listings, I own everything. So you're just working for me. It's how do you build your business within our business. I call that, instead of the orange vortex, I now call it the orange jet stream, because if we get our little business planes up in the orange jet stream, it helps propel us further, but we're yet our own airplane. I'm trademarking that, just so you know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to.
No,
But anyhow, so we've brought in a bunch of people that have very diverse backgrounds in different areas. We've got a full-time commercial guy, we've got a hard money lender, we've got specialists in areas, so that way we're helping each other grow our businesses. We all have something to contribute, we all have something to learn. There we go.
and there you have it. That's great. Yeah, and we do know that orange is your color. Orange is the truth, I think is one of the.
Orange is truth, yes. Because if there is not truth, there is no trust in
Right.
real estate, right? So the color orange, you see it, there's some truth there.
I love it. So yeah, so a lot of teams, right? You have the supreme command leader, and then you have all the people below and all the production. But you guys do it separately, where you have a company within the company doing your own, and you're giving them mentorship and leadership and leading by example. And so of the team, because everybody asked me this question, Jay, so I'm going to ask you. So of the team, you guys are going to do 30 million, let's say, by the end of the year, closed and pending, maybe even get that closed. What percentage of that do you do versus the team?
Well, right now, I would say that it's probably about half is
Okay.
mine, but diminishing by choice. So when we set this up, my goal was that when you've been in the business a long time, kind of like you get all this stuff in your head. I used to call it the Cliff Clavin knowledge of real estate, but that was derogatory. Someone said, you learn all these things at hard knocks.
Right.
And you say, so what do you do with that, right? Either you fade off into the sunset, putting out open house signs up until you tip over and die,
Right.
or you share that knowledge. And so I decided that I like to teach. I like to see people excel. And then my son decided to come join us about a year ago, which changed the dynamic quite a bit. He just got here about a month ago. And so now I'm moving into that. I remember Shirley Small, who's my manager, who I mentor, talked about being a rainmaker. And I said, I'll never be a rainmaker. I didn't really even know what that meant. That sounded like I would be doing a dance. And right now in Arizona, we could use that because we haven't any rain. But
Same here.
But what I found is that as I've moved into this role of mentoring more and coaching, all this business that I didn't think I really had, this rainmaking, is coming to fruition. And so now I want to share that with the team. The idea is not to necessarily make a lot of money or revenue on single deals, but as people grow their businesses, we run a tight ship, meaning I want agents to keep most of their money because it's tough enough. This is a tough business. You're giving away 50%. And then you're paying taxes, and then you're buying a postcard or two, and then you're having to buy Rick lunch.
Right.
So, our goal is, I want to really move more into that as we grow. And the Corona was a big growth for us. I thought it would be the opposite. I thought people would hunker in. And actually, it was a time when people analyzed their businesses and said,
Right.
I need a little more insight, maybe, or support or group. And so we're like one big orange family. And I really believe that. Within
Good.
Berkshire Hathaway. And that's the other thing we have. We have the benefit of both. We leverage the Berkshire name all the time. I think it's one of our biggest assets.
Oh, thank you. We really appreciate that. And that's one of the things I was going to ask you too, because I know that you do that very well, and it is. And you were Berkshire Hathaway Minneapolis, Berkshire Hathaway when you came into Arizona, and you also, I know that you use the company tools quite a bit too. The new VAC 2.0. I know you use the newsletters. You've got everybody in that CRM. And the CRM is pretty incredible, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So I'm from Minnesota, so that makes me cheap.
Right.
I mean, it does. Minnesotans are cheap. And
you betcha.
So yeah, I got the Buick yet, and they don't even make them. Oh, that's Oldsmobile they don't make. But why would we reinvent something that we get for free?
Right.
So this idea that I'm going to create this massive website and SEO is going to drive traffic to me, for the most part. Now there are exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, unless you Google J. Jasper Arizona real estate, I'll be the number one. But you got to remember, they got to decide to type that into the little toolbar.
Right.
So our websites are for our clients and as a marketing tool. And the sites that Berkshire provides us are second to none. I mean, they're fabulous. I never have anyone complain about my website going, well, are you cheap? You have this website. All the customization tools. And then the new VAC, we dropped all our other CRMs that we had because we said, this has got all the tools we need. The reporting, the drip campaign. I was talking about the drip campaign. So I'm always willing to share my faux pas. So when I'm futzing around the VAC, I've got about 2,600 contacts in my VAC, and I inadvertently checked send everybody the buyer drip. That sounds like a very efficient thing to do, except that there are many in my database who aren't buyers, who just bought. And so I sent this out, and I got a few emails back going, hey, Jay, we're not buying, remember? I said, oh, I'm testing it. What do you think? Okay, that worked out well. Last drip I sent out, which I didn't send out, the drip sent out, I had 6 clients call me and say, funny, we just got this. It was like, hey, I saw this great property. What would you think about this? They all said, what property is that? And of course I had to scramble and go, what property is that? But I didn't, because I already knew what they would look for. So I was able to make a connection, and that has turned into over the next year, that will be 6 people buying real, and some of them selling as well, because I just said, let's click a drip. We've got the tool. It's not necessarily fancy, but they're well thought out and they do the job. And as they say, persistent and consistent. And that's
Yes.
one way of being that. We have the tools to do it. It's free.
Yeah, it's like you said, you use it as a proactive tool to create business, which is great, and it's all branded with the BHHS goodies.
Yep.
I know you call him Uncle Warren too, so do I.
Yep. Uncle Warren.
And plus, we got to give Shirley, which you already done, and Phil a shout out there because they're two incredible. Phil will teach you the tools. Shirley will give you the nuts and bolts, and between the two of them, you've got some good help there as well.
Well, I would say that in all these 37 years, they are probably the best people overall that I have worked for. And it's not that I need, how do I fill in the blank? It's, oh, we all run into situations we've never seen, especially now. Things are kind of crazy. And their wisdom and insight, and Shirley just looking at me cross-eyed going, what aren't you doing? What's the matter? I'm going, what? And she goes, she knows, she's intuitive.
Yeah.
And that you can't get that in any other company. I just don't believe. So we're very fortunate.
Good for you. I love it. Okay. Anything else you want to mention about your team? Anything, any plug you want to give or anything like that before we move on? Because I got my favorite question to ask next.
Well, I will just say that they are talk about trust. One of the things in team, I believe, is we got to trust each other. And in our business, everything's great, right? Isn't it? How is everything?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. We're busy. Oh yeah, wow. Well, that's because our competition is the agent sitting next to us, or it's our clients. And in our group, the one thing that we've got is we can trust each other. So occasionally there's a tear shed over someone who was mean, or there's celebrations, or there's problem solving. And I've always said this is the loneliest business on earth because of that need to be posturing all the time. And it's one thing I really look at these guys as guys and gals. I mean, we've got more women than men. That is a plus. I mean, they all, talk about running my life. It is controlled. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
they're all sharp, and they all are, trustworthy. And I say that with all sincerity. So anyhow, I love our people.
That's great. That's great. And your team has grown. I know that you just added a couple last week because Shirley told us. Remember, just like I do with you guys in my coaching, accountability, and numbers, we do the same thing. Phil and Shirley both keep track of their numbers, submit them in, just like all the managers do. We have something called a WIG, wildly important goal as a company, and numbers to back it, just like you do for your business plan. Speaking of that, okay, Jay, so let's say you're a new agent or an agent trying to take it to the next level. Okay, what would be the three most important pieces of advice that you would give them?
Oh, that's expensive. I can't give that out.
Well, come on, be a
No,
public
I'm kidding.
servant right now.
Yeah, I'm kidding. So, I don't think they change whether you're new or not.
Right.
So, number one, sphere of influence. I can't tell you how many people tell me I don't have a sphere of influence, and I go, that's a lie. No, I don't know any people. Well, we do. We went to the doctor. We've got a parole officer. We've got somebody. And so I look at it as it's not just people who are your close friends. It's people who would know your face if they saw it. Okay, those are the people you got to go after. And that's the easiest business to get. And two would be persistent and consistent. It's the easiest business on the face of the earth, except for our noggins, which get in the way of us doing anything. So, we think, oh, I don't want to do that today. I'm afraid to call somebody. That's me, fear of the phone. I mean, I still have it. I still have to, run around the block before I make a call. But if you're persistent and consistent, using the tools we've got, you will get business. Third is using the book that Mark Stark makes everyone read, The 4 Disciplines of Execution.
Yeah.
We can do one or two things very well before the whirlwinds of life get in the way. I used to be the guy that had $11 million ideas going, and it was generating $7.52 because it got in the way of each other. You can't sustain that kind of effort.
Right.
And if you believe in unlimited opportunity, which we do, doesn't matter how many agents there are, you pick the one or two things that you really love about the real estate business. So if that's open houses, go do them till your nose bleeds. If that's door knocking, well, there's unlimited doors. If it's cold calling, God bless you, get on the phone. And do those until you perfect them, and they will generate enough business. So if you're working on your sphere, you're being persistent and consistent, and you're doing one or two activities that you like, not the ones you hate. You can add those later when Rick comes into Success Series and tells you to.
Right.
You will be consistent. We have what we call the 51-day ramp up, and the 51 days is a very top secret thing. But in it is all the things I've learned over the years. It isn't something I created, but Floyd Wickman stuff and Rick Berube stuff and all the training I've had over the years. And basically I said, if you do this for 51 days, you'll have 2 or 3 buyers and you'll have 1 or 2 listings.
Right.
Because it's persistent and consistent. And so, that I think that's the challenge of the business is getting out of our own way, which we all struggle with. So that's my 3 things. You don't need to spend tons of money. Open houses are free. Calling people only has your cell phone. So what are you looking at?
I'm looking at, okay, so Drew from the North office, Drew Trenhale, said, Jay Jasper and Rick Berube, my 2 favorite guys. Your name was first, so apparently he likes you more.
Well, he does, because we have cigars occasionally.
Oh, you do? Good for you. All right, Drew. Hi, Drew.
Let me tell you about Drew. Drew was at Success Series when I was still doing the open house thing.
Yeah.
He called me from the West Valley, said, can I come do open houses with you? I said, sure. And he came and learned and listened, and I learned from him because he's knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, he is.
And he goes, oh, I should work a little harder. I don't know. You're doing pretty good working at half speed, Drew. Get on it. Hey, call Taylor and tell him to get on it. Those 2 connected at cigars, and they were kind of keeping each other accountable. I think that, I don't know how that's going, but it was persistent and consistent, and that's what Drew did.
Yeah, and I actually went door knocking one day with Drew, his manager, Robert Tompkins. The first time when Robert took over that office, the first time I went there, he's like, okay, Rick, we're going door knocking. I'm like, awesome. And Drew came and he got a really good lead from this big dude. The guy looked like a bear. I'm serious, like 6'6", like answers the door with no shirt on. And he was like a teddy bear, though, fortunately. And Drew got us all. Drew, I hope you followed up with him. I hope you have his house listed by now. You should.
A quick Drew story. Drew's my hero because Drew went over to the west side and convinced a guard gate to let him in so that he could go drop a package off or knock on a door on a person he had met or called, until the people next door found out that he had kind of snuck through the gate, and then they called security. But the neighbor said it was okay. But he said he talked his way through the gate so that he could deliver a package. And I thought, dude, you're a bank robber. That's great. It was phenomenal. So anyhow.
And Rochelle from your office says, good to see you guys too. Hi, Rochelle. She's in my coaching, which I was just on a call with her.
And
all right.
Yep, go ahead.
Rochelle's going to be good, I can tell. Drew is already in pay. Drew's only been in the business less than 2 years, right? Maybe 2.5 years, and he's killing it. And Rochelle, you can tell when someone has it. I can tell she does.
And her success rate on expired phone calls is 1 for 1. She decided to make one, and she got him to, and hopefully we're going to be meeting with that client in about 2 weeks at $2.5 million. So, she said this is easy.
Yeah.
And it's because she's fearless.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story in our call this morning. Hopefully she doesn't get mad at me, but she said, I'm going to call at least 2 a day. And I go, okay, well, first off, Rochelle, I am so excited that your first call went like that. But let me just help you with this. And this is not a negative statement. They're not all going to go like that. So you should talk to more of them a day if you're talking to old expireds and so forth. But good for her.
I think for her, they'll go that way. They'll just be all. She's.
Well, you know what? You could be right.
Sweet person that she'll get that happening.
She has the right attitude. So as long as you have the right attitude and you're willing to put the time in, as you know, real estate, the great thing about real estate is it doesn't matter. Like if I got to play in the NBA, well, I got to be 6 something minimum, maybe even 7 feet, right? I got to work. But in real estate, any trait, because they're not really talents, they're traits. Any trait that you need, you can develop. It doesn't matter what sex you are, color, age, where you came from, it doesn't matter. If you have a real estate license and a pulse, you can learn the traits. And both of us, Jay, are living a proof of that. If we can do it, anybody can do it. Yes, you do. No, I know you do. You're moving.
We got faces for radio.
Speak for yourself. No, I'm kidding. All right. Any final thoughts you want to leave these wonderful people? What's your goal next year? Tell them. What's your goal? Throw your hat over the fence. Make the declaration.
Wow. Put me on the spot. I would like to see us approach that 100 million in sales.
Wow. Woo! He's going to knock it out of the ballpark, folks. I love it.
I'm taking next year off, so it'll be everyone else.
You're just going to coach them from afar. I'll be in Minnesota. You guys can be at Minneapolis.
I'm not going to be. No, I can guarantee it won't be here, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, you betcha. All right, my man. Well, I want to thank you very much, Jay, for taking your time out today. This has been very insightful. As you can see, we've already got comments. This will keep playing. Reshare it on yours as well, my man. You're the best. Thank you very much. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Rick.
Say hi to your mother, too.
I will.